Tonight, I'm going to share with you guys some stuff that's been learned over many years. Um, Absolutely great stuff. And I always say this, there's this old prophet said there's nothing new under the sun. People learn things, they figure things out, they figure this goes with that, and this is how it works. And that's what I do here. I try to connect people with information that's going to help them grow their businesses and lives. I mean, you might pop in a group one week and find out we're doing something on life. I mean, like life, not just business, because life is you are who you are, and as much as we compartmentalize, everything affects something else in your life. So, if that family life is off, well, guess what? It's going to affect your business life. If your business life is off, your financial life is off, it's probably going to affect your family life. So what I want to do here is I want to treat the whole situation, not just throw ways to make money. I want you to make money. If you have the proper view of money, that money is a tool, well, then you're gonna do fine with money, and it'll really just help all those other areas. So that's why we do talk about it a lot. And it happens to be that's the business I'm in. But I actually got in that business because I wasn't doing so great, and a mentor of mine showed up and helped me out. And over the years, we've been able to do something different. So, welcome to the Visionary Goals Workshop. I actually this was a big change for me. What I'm about to show you, this was monumental to me because I spent my whole life chasing milestones, and I didn't spend my life chasing a vision of what it is that I needed to be or what my life would be, and realizing that there's a difference. Now, here's some of the chapters we're going to cover tonight, but we're going to talk about the difference between visions and goals. I didn't know when I was younger. Like I just thought, man, you need an X number of dollars or this way for that house, and you should have those things in front of you. And I'm going to tell you tonight, you should have those things in front of you. But it's what's going on, and we'll talk about this later when we talk about creating a visionary statement. Okay, there's a big difference between vision versus goals. And I hear a lot of people say, "Man, I got goals. I want to be this and I want to be that." But really, what you need to focus on first is vision. Okay, now for simplicity's sake, here's my definition. Okay, this is my definition. Vision is the lifestyle you want to live, including your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, and family health. Goals are a tool that you use to put a hard date on a milestone or an accomplishment that point you towards your vision. So that middle line right there, that is the supporting tool. It's like the hammer and the nail to the house. By the way, you see that house? That's my future house on the west coast of Florida, where I'm going to walk out back and watch the hurricanes. I got my hurricane party right there in that backyard, right by that pool. All the doors are going to slide open, and I'm going to let the thunder and the lightning crash because I love it. Okay, but many people run around with goals and they let themselves down. They either end up empty because they hit a financial milestone, but they lost everything else. I'll never forget, there's a mentor of mine. He's a billionaire. I've never met him in person. He's been a mentor from afar. But he said when he finally made it in his business, that he actually was so disappointed because the people that he had looked up to, they had lives that had fallen apart. Yeah, they were putting on rings and they were doing these things, but they really weren't living the life that he was trying to build. So goals can let you down even when you hit them, when you hit those milestones. Oh, by the way, you said a truck at the bottom. If you could see the leather seats inside of that thing, oh my gosh. And there's my motorcycle. This picture reminded me of what my relationship's supposed to be about. One of the greatest nights of our life. Constantly think about that. So what's a vision? What is a real true vision? Get these words down, because this is very, very important. Your vision is a crystal clear mental picture, and this is the easiest way to remember it, of the who, what, why, where, when, and how, like how much, or how you're going to do it, of your dream life, supported by visualization, multiple times a day, the tools that I call goals, and your vision statement read out loud, pictures, videos, and other media where you can readily see it and spend time, as well as simple quotes either by yourself or I have and I'm going to share this with you more in the end here. but I have mine laminated so I can see it every single day. So I can read it before I go to sleep. So I can read it when I get up. So, and I know exactly the kind of person that I want to be, the tools that I need to use to be able to hit that vision. Vision is extremely important. So goals are specific, measurable checkpoints, ultimately leading you to possess the ability to live the visionary lifestyle. People say, well, that guy was a visionary. Elon Musk is a visionary. Bill Gates was a visionary, or somebody else. No, they are, but no, they're not just born visionaries. You know what they were? They're guys with an idea that literally were able to roadmap it out, and they were able to follow that roadmap to their vision. So they had an idea. Jobs had an idea about building an iPhone. He didn't go out and build himself an iPhone. They created a roadmap to the iPhone. Gates had an idea about Windows and how to beat Big Blue, and he created a roadmap and worked with the right people, the right tools to do that. So I want to show you something. Up in this left side right here, this is a map. You see that Union Road right there? I'm looking down at it. That's my old house, okay? That's Washington Square in Washington, D.C. This is how, and this is, I want you to really get this, okay? Because this is going to drive it home how important goals are and how important it is that they're measurable and specific, okay? So if I wanted to leave my old house and I wanted to go to Washington Square in D.C., I'm going to turn, okay, out of my driveway. I'm going to go X number of miles. I got the directions later, but I go X number of miles on a side road till I hit that 304. You see that little side road right there? You could barely find that. And if I put most of you guys out there, you'd be lost. You'd probably call me for help, right? But that's a little side road. Then you get on that 304. It's a little bit of a bigger road, okay? On that side road is about 1.5 miles. On that bigger road, maybe about 9 miles. I had to travel on that road. Well, guess what? Then there's an on-ramp that gets me onto, you see that 301? That's a U.S. highway sign. This is boring to me because my dad actually taught me how to read a real map. By the way, I told you I dedicated to him tonight. My dad was really, really good with visions and goals and plans. I mean, he was a truck driver, and he used to have model trucks of the trucks he was going to have in his house. And guess what? We had them. It was really cool. So now I'm on that U.S. highway, and there's going to be stuff. You're going to notice this along the way. There's a bridge at Graysonville. You're going to have to climb a little higher. It might be windy there. I've seen people, go across there with trucks and get blown all over the place. Then you go come down to Stevensville, and guess what? There's always a backup at the Bay Bridge. Always. I don't care what time you get there, okay? And you're going to go across that bridge, and you're going to be climbing and climbing. You got to drop to a lower gear to get over top of that. You're going to have to watch it coming down the other side, that you don't come down too fast, just like with your goals. You're going to have to be careful how you're going forward. And you notice there's that measurable time frame, 1 hour and 32 minutes. All right, hey, we're going to get over towards D.C., and now we're going to jump on a bigger road. We're going to jump on an interstate. And then we're going to, which is 695, okay? We're still getting pretty good time because I guess it was still 1 hour and 32 minutes there. If you want to take a little bit longer, you can get sidetracked. You see that, 1 hour, 37 minutes? I don't recommend that way, okay? Don't take that class. It's not a good class. You won't appreciate it. You won't graduate. So now we're on another interstate, an even bigger road. So you notice we're building up. We got off those little side roads, okay? And this is how goals work. Goals work to show you right where you're at, onto a bigger road, to a bigger road, to a bigger road, through different terrain, through different on-ramps, off-ramps, bridges, valleys, traffic, slow down, speed ups, until finally you get up to Washington Circle. You go by the Lincoln Memorial. And see, that's the neat thing about goals. They're going to take you on some cool roads, and you're going to see some great things as you go by. You'll be able to point out the window and say, look, kids, remember when we were back there in the woods, and now we're in downtown, boy, we're really making it happen. And the next thing you know, you're at Washington Square. Now, look, you're like, Jeremy, that's a real labored point. That's a language that I think everybody can understand. We jump in our car to go somewhere, we throw in our GPS, and we start following that map. But so many people never take the vision of the life they want to live and drop it into a GPS and figure out the way to get there. Now, here's the thing. In order to make those directions this morning, I had to sit there and figure out, where did I want to go? I had to start with what happened over in D.C. Did I ever get to see that one? Have I been to the Lincoln Memorial? Where do I want to go? And so I said, you know what? I want to go down that Washington Circle. I want to see a great big hotel. You can't see it from this. It's over there. right? But I want to see that great big hotel. I want to have some fun and, go to this place. So that's when I had to backtrack all the way back to where I was and work my way over to there. Goals are the same way. They give you the roadmap to that visionary lifestyle. You had to have the vision first. You had to know where it is you want to be. Then your goals are the hammers and nails, the asphalt, the rolling machines of your plan. Okay. Oh, by the way, there you go. So I was at 15,500 Union Road. Don't go looking for me there, okay? Because you won't find me there no more. But there it is, all written out, plain and simple. You're going to go, oh, I was wrong. It's a third of a mile, okay? And then it was 12 miles. Well, it's a good thing I had in my GPS, because if I was just guessing, I wouldn't get there. How about that? Go guessing with your goals, and you can forget about your vision. And another 12, another 2, 3, and I think you guys get the point. Goals are a tool. They are exactly what you need to get to the visionary lifestyle that you want. Now, look, every week I have to come to mindset, and I'm going to tell you this week it's more mindset than ever. We're going to have a practical time where we're going to kick some stuff around. I'm going to read you some statements. I'm going to show you how to backtrack through and create your own roadmap. But listen, everything starts upstairs. You see that right there? And I was sitting there thinking, I said, Jeremy, don't tell that joke. But actually, I'm going to tell it anyway. It's just like when we were made, it probably started upstairs, right? Everything starts upstairs, okay? Right here. It starts with an idea, a thought. How do I want to live? Where do I want to be? What kind of lifestyle? See, when I showed you a picture of that house, it's not just that house. It's the owner of that house means nothing. That's just a piece of property. Someday I'll be gone. My kids will get it, or this, whatever. It'll be sold and give the money to the SPCA. I don't know, but whatever happens to the house don't matter. It's the life that Debbie and I live in that house. And I was looking at that picture today. You know what I saw? I saw my daughter, Kaylin, come wandering out of the bedroom about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, wandering into the kitchen, her normal funny self, with something weird to say, like, don't look at me first thing in the morning. And I'm like, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, these are the things that play in my mind that happen in the house. I can hear their footsteps. I can see me and Hannah, Samantha, and Jeremy and his. I can see us all already up, all ready to go have fun. And she's the last one up. This is something I spend time thinking about and visualizing it. And by the way, I have another truck. I don't know if it was in one of those slides, but because we're going to need more than one vehicle to get around, and may as well get one of the best ones that we can get, right? I mean, if I had any more kids and grandkids, I'd need another tractor trailer. But the idea is it all starts right up here. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing where you want to go? And that's the thing. So let's talk about what type of mindset does the visionary have. And right after this, we'll get to practical, and we'll get to writing a vision statement. But here's the thing. You can have that statement and you can have some goals, but if you don't have the right mindset, it doesn't work. They all have to mesh together. It's like a machine. Have you ever seen a machine with all the different gears and they're locked into each other and they're all spinning at the same time? Visionary mindset is the same way. You got to have the vision, the goals, the mindset, the plan written down, and you got to have a way to go. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about mindset. So the very first thing I learned a long time ago about visionaries. And I learned this stuff. You can pick it up in any book. I have books all over stuff up, but you can pick it up in any book. But I learned that you cannot get where you want to go unless you learn to control your subconscious mind. So how does does anybody know how the subconscious mind works? Your subconscious mind, that's the part of your mind, like the part of my mind right now, there's two parts of my mind working. First of all, my subconscious mind has absorbed all this information over the last 34 years. Okay. Then my active mind, my conscious mind, is reminding me, yes, don't forget to say that. Go ahead, read that slide, look at the camera, make sure that you didn't have this thing in the way here. Do you have that book you want? So I got some active things going on, but it's constantly drawing from the well of my subconscious mind. The idea is you don't just one time go, okay, subconscious mind, you're going to listen to me, and here we go. Now, your subconscious mind has to be programmed. And we talk about that here just a little bit. Your subconscious mind is programmed by a bunch of different things. Okay, it's controlled by the people that you're around. You see that line right there? One of the things I noticed about visionary thinkers was they cut off cold things that are negative and contrary to their vision. I have a friend of mine, 1 block that way, millionaire, owns tons of property. You would never know it. walks around like he was for the longest time. He drove a 20-year-old Escalade, buys and sells houses. I could pick up the phone, put him on here right now. In fact, maybe one night I will. Um, Dude, you wouldn't know, right? But you know something he told me the other day? He said, Jeremy, he said, I'll never forget going through the worst time of my life. He said, when I did, I found out who my real friends were. And he said, I had elected to run with the wrong crowd. I said, well, what did you do? Because I mean, like, he's a church guy, like, church people. I mean, we love each other, right? And you know what he said? He said, I just cut off cold the people that were dragging me down, that were bringing the negative things in my life, and people that spoke contrary to my vision. Whatever God had put in his heart, in his mind, what his vision was, he had people in his life that spoke contrary to it. He said, cut them off cold. He said, it didn't mean I was mean to them. It didn't mean that I was, ignorant. I'd take their phone call if I had time. If somebody truly needed help and I could do it, he said, this is my job to make sure I can do something. He said, but maybe I'm not going to go there myself next time. So he cut off people who are cold. What did he do? He said he only had positive and relevant information and individuals now put into his mind. Now, if you go to his house, you'll see the things I'm talking about all around his house, things that represent his business and his family. They go to Florida 4, 5, 6 times a year. They have a lot of fun. He's got a lot of different connections. And I was actually amazed at something. He was telling me about a time frame. He said that there's a time frame only a few years ago that he didn't have enough of these people in his life. He hadn't cut off enough of the people that were bringing him down and not helping him get forward. And then, he wasn't able to help them get forward, obviously. And he said in the last 2 years, he's made connections, changing his mindset to people now. He doesn't even go to a bank to get money. He's driving down the street and he sees a house he wants to buy. It makes sense. He picks up the phone or texts somebody and gets it done. Only positive and relevant people were allowed into his life. See, negative is like Chinese water torture. Like we all talk about, what's that, waterboarding? Waterboarding is mild compared to Chinese water torture. They're just going to drown you with waterboarding, I guess. But Chinese water torture, that's that drip, that constant drip, 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 drip of negative information. That's that constant. You're not going to own 5 tractor trailers. That's that constant. You're not going to coach people. That's that constant. You're not going to sell enough of that product. You're not going to find that right spouse. And those are the voices. We fight ourselves enough about negativity. Those are voices coming from outside, and they say it in different ways. Like they probably would never walk up and say, "Hey, you know what? You're never going to find a wife that brings you up in the world. You're never going to find a husband that brings you up in the world." But what they'll say is, man, maybe I'll just take it easy for a while because you've been relaxing so much. Maybe you could quit working on yourself and have a beer with the boy. Let's go to the football game. Nothing wrong with football games. But maybe it's those subtle little things to just drag you out away from the path. Remember that detour? You take you a little bit longer up, go up there, get lost in the city. I guarantee you'll have some fun. Okay. Let's talk some more about that mindset. They learn to control their environment. Now, not just are they putting people out of their lives or bringing the right people in and getting out around the right people. By the way, you're around the right people tonight. Everybody on this call I know has a vision, has a goal. They're going somewhere. They're going to learn well tonight. And by the way, I'm putting mine together for the new year, and I'm going to have an accountability group. We'll talk about that at the end. But I'm going to be real raw and say, this is where I'm really at. If you want to watch it in real life and be a part of it, we'll do it. Okay. So they learned, these people with the visionary mindset, people like you and me, they use visualizations, pictures, and media. I talked about my house earlier. Do you know when I get in that truck, I can smell the leather. I can see the stitches. You see, you probably can't see it very well, but you see this ink pen? The stitches in that bad boy, in that leather, are really, really thick. I mean, I remember when I got in that truck, because yes, I went and looked at that truck. And I remember when I got in that, and I was like, oh my word, this is so nice. I can smell the new leather. I can hear the diesel engine starting up. I mean, it is phenomenal. It is fine. And that's something I recommend. Are you going to open houses? Are you looking at new trucks? Are you looking at new equipment for your business? What are you doing to surround yourself? Do you have videos, pictures? When you flip your sun visor down, do you have like a picture or something on there, that reminds you of what you're doing? Is there something that's in your eyes and in your ears? Are you turning your car into a rolling university? Are you attending events like this? Like, look, you can work with me. You can pay me some money if you want. But here's the thing. I'm doing this for free. And there's people, I saw a status on Facebook today about people won't do something to improve their lives. I was like, are you kidding me? They won't give 90 minutes. But here we are, 7 or 8 of us tonight. That could change the world. Hey, I've asked somebody, and I'm gonna let you do this, Cindy. I asked Cindy, she a couple of weeks ago, she put something up there. Let's make sure that you can all see her. I'll stop screen sharing for a second, Cindy, and I'll come right back to it. Okay. And there we go. I'm gonna let Cindy share for a minute. Cindy's got something that she uses to remind herself every single day of what she does. Cindy, I'm gonna mute so you can share. Did I lose you?
I'm here. I just have a blurred background and I don't know how to unblur it.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
I can see you now.
Okay, you got it? Okay. That's my vision board. And I think you can see this better than the picture that I have on Facebook. But what's very, very important to me is the woman in the middle walking. Those that know me know that I had a back injury 12 and a half years ago. And I just, oh, cool. Hey, hang it up. Show it up there, Mark, please. Mark has one too.
See it. Put it up there.
You have a blurred background.
Come a little further, but come a little closer to the.
I think he has a blurred background too.
Yeah, you just have to step up a little bit closer. You probably got to speak so the camera turns on you.
It's not working for some reason. It's showing, but
yeah, I don't know why.
I just did that about 6 months ago.
Sweet.
Mine is just being willing to walk in my truths and my lane without comparing, without looking at what I used to do, and keeping it positive. And this here is my life verse, and that is 1 Timothy 4:16. Keep a close watch on all you do and think. Stay true to what is right, and God will bless you and use you to help others. I'm a certified prophetic minister and transformational health and life coach, and I mix that all together. And that's what's important to me, helping people to be true to who they are. And so that's my walk, and I'm going to walk pain-free this year. So keep praying for me. I'm going to be speaking faith and speaking healing, and I'm glad to be here. Glad to
Cindy,
share.
what was the Bible verse again?
Bible verse was 1 Timothy 4:16. I think that's the New Living Translation.
Okay.
Cindy, thank you so much. Mark, thank you so much. That's awesome. You guys see what I'm saying? You can see here's people already taking, this is called proof of concept, where we're bringing things to you that you can already see where it works and people are working it. She said 2 things in there that reminded me of something. She gave me the perfect segue. You see that next line right there? People who are visionary thinkers, visionary mindset people, they leave yesterday in the past. They don't daily relive their victories or defeats. This one's tough, okay? It's tough if you've won a lot. It's tough if you've suffered a lot. Maybe I don't know what that middle of the road is, because I got to be honest, I've really never lived on the middle of the road. We're always winning or we're always fighting. And that's because maybe I'm always fighting to get to another level. But if you fight too much, or you get focused too much on the past, you're going to carry that into your future. And all you're going to keep doing is reliving years. You see, the way that subconscious mind works is whatever you get focused on is what it produces in your life. That's what comes about, is the things with your mouth, the things you say. You ever heard that old prophet said the power of life and death is in your tongue? You ever heard that? The old prophet said, where there's no vision, people perish. Where you don't have the guidance, something that North Star. I mean, is there any better thing than the story we celebrate this time of year? How those wise men followed that North Star? I mean, you need a North Star in your life. And see, that's what visionary people do. They don't take time to stop and relive yesterday's problems. But at the same time, they're not reliving yesterday's victories. There's nothing worse than a guy whose height of life was being a quarterback of his high school football team and winning the state championship and never going forward. I hope, gosh, I hope that's not you, but I know the feeling, right? But
That's Al Bundy.
that's it, exactly. And that's exactly what I was thinking of. Hey, pig. Oh, sorry. So, that whole time, if you watch that whole 10 or 12 years of that show, and I know somebody that did, they might be in this room, but if you do, right, he's just constantly reliving that 1 year, trying to force it through his kids and everything else. You can't, you got to walk away from those things. It's good for credibility. I mean, if you found a way to win, you can use it for credibility. And something else, if you found a way to lose, you can use it for credibility. You can say there's another way that didn't work. And I got like a whole book of those. So, but that's all it is. It's a reference point. It's not to be relived. Remember, reference, not relived. So what else about people that are visionary mindset people? They always have a plan and a direction. And this is amazing to me. I adopted this so much into my core. When I started dating Debbie and we run into this or run into that or what have you, and I would just always be like, oh, it's okay that happened because I have a plan. And that's like I probably said that sentence more than I've said anything else in life. And she was saying, we get in some situation, I know you have a plan. I'm not worried because I know you have a plan. And yes, there's always a plan because I have analyzed our trip to success and the lifestyle that we want. And there's steps along the way that you have to take. And I always have a plan. So this didn't work. Great. Well, something else will work out. That relationship didn't come through like I thought it would. Well, guess what? Another one will work out. That job didn't work out. Okay, that doesn't change the goal. It might change the way the income comes, but it doesn't change. It might change the company writing me a check. But there's always, now, that's not a plan B, okay? That's not a plan B. It's a plan A, always going forward. It's not well, you know what, I'm going to give this old college try, and if it doesn't work out. No. If you're going forward and you hit a roadblock, you got a plan to go through it, go around it, go over it, do something, okay? Now, here's another thing. Visionary people are always taking people with them. One of the things I've been so blessed in my life, visionary people I've been around, and I don't know why, I don't know what caused it, but so many people have latched onto me and said, come on, we're going to go do this. We're going to go do this, And then I've sought a bunch of them out. And I don't think I've ever been turned down by somebody ahead of me on the road that I needed some help from or had a question for. Now, I will tell you, people alongside of me or behind me, proverbially, I've definitely had people tell me, no, I don't want to share that with you. No, I'm not saying this, or there's a better way, and they misguide you. But the people that are truly on the path are transparent, and they're taking people with you. They're taking people with them. Who are you bringing with you? Who are you bringing with you? Listen, here's something else they do. They stack up daily wins. They know that the future that they want depends on today, and more specifically, this hour. Look, you want to talk about, I had a win today. I'm going to tell you what it was. It was just this small, right? I have a guy I'm working with. I've been vetting some people for this group to try to help some of us out. And a guy I've been working with that I'm going to use him for one of my businesses. And he hit me up this morning. He's like, do you mind ratifying that contract so we can do this order? And I probably would have took me 2 minutes to do it. Pop in my email, go to that website, verify my signature. And I thought about it because I'm sitting right here refreshing myself for our program night. And you know what I said? I said, no. I said, look, I'm going to be with a bunch of people tonight, and I want them to get the best. And I want to make sure that I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've set aside my Mondays now for all day to make sure I'm prepared. I'm working on it through the week, but I'm like, I'm not going to miss something tonight because I stopped for 2 minutes. Because you know why? That 2 minutes turns into 15 minutes. Well, while I'm up signing this, it becomes that and that. And next thing I know, I'm sidetracked. I'm not going to get away from stacking up the wins every hour. I shared a video on my Facebook the other week. If y'all see, it's got a Pomodoro clock. It's an old technique, but it basically, you can lock yourself in an airtight bubble and you say, I'm going to work for 45 minutes. Maybe you can't concentrate for 45. Maybe you only concentrate for an hour or 15 minutes or 20, whatever. But you can set that clock to the exact time that you plan on working. And you have to promise yourself you're going to work that exact amount of time. And if you get up for any reason, you stop working, pick up your phone, go on your laptop, whatever, you hit that clock and stop your time. And you're going to be surprised how little time you actually spend working on your life and your goals. or your job. You know, I can tell you right now, most people, it's not lack of wanting or knowing what they want. It's usually lack of locking themselves in an airtight compartment with that one thing in front of them that they're going towards. So look, visionary mindset people, they know exactly how they're going to use this hour. They know that this hour means tomorrow's better. See, tomorrow, in a way, is kind of a fictitious thing. You can't go to tomorrow. Now, it's not like I can step into tomorrow, right? But you know, what I can do is I can take a peek at tomorrow by doing what I'm doing right now, because I know if I take care of these phone calls, call these clients, if I write down this part of my vision, if I read this book, it affects tomorrow's outcome. As far as yesterday goes, we talked about that. You can't change any blessed thing about that. Listen, visionary people are accountable. That can be painful. I had a situation in my life where I had a really good friend come to me and say, "Hey, Jeremy, listen, I have this thing I've been wanting to tell you about." And they told me about it. And, you know, to be honest, it just stabbed me right here. Okay. Stabbed me right here. Of course, I want to be brave. It was really hard because I look up to him so much. But it was an absolute act of love on their part. And later in that day, I saw him again after our conversation and I went back by myself for a few hours. I really thought about what they said. He was holding me accountable is what he was doing. And I gave him permission to do that, right? You have, see, a lot of us will say we're accountable, we'll attend an accountability meeting, but do we actually give people permission to speak into our lives and say, "Hey, you didn't hit that one thing you said you'd hit last week. What happened there?" Or, "I see you've been doing this or that," or, you know, if it's relationship accountability, "Well, I saw you looking at her," or, "I saw you looking at him." You know, there's accountability that must be had in our life, right? So I went back later that day, and when I went back, I still was having a hard time holding it back. And he looked at me, and he put his arm around me, he gave me a big hug. He said, "Listen, man," he said, "I told you this because I love you. I told you this because I've been where you're at, and I told you this because I want you to go forward." And I mean, did it take away the sting? No, but I trust him and I gave him that permission. And there are changes that I went out and started immediately because of what he said, because I'm accountable to him. Now, look, he lives close to me. If I'm not accountable, he will come find me, because that's the kind of accountability I've given him into my life. Listen, they control their schedules. We just talked about that Pomodoro clock. We talked about time, right? Well, when I say they control their schedules, you can pull up their calendar and you can see it on there, what's actually going on. This is a big deal for everybody. And this is one of my, to be honest, was one of my biggest failures. But now if you go through my email, you see consistent reminders. Get this done, get that, run your credit report, call the car dealership, you know, call this customer, call this customer, call this annual review, all these different things. You just literally, you know, constantly reminded to death. And I never let myself get tone deaf to it. If my phone goes off, I constantly look at it. And I don't even just use my calendar. I use my alarms. You know, my alarm will, if you look in there, you know, call with Cindy Otto, send Mark the meeting, the slides. There's all these different things. I get these. I don't want to miss out. I got to control my schedule and get everything done that I can get done. And so do you. If you're part-time in whatever you're doing right now, a lot of people do start part-time. This is the biggest thing. You need to do your calendar. And this, I learned this a long time ago. Do your calendar, put your job, whatever your main bread and butter is in there, your family time or dating time or what have you. Then you got a little you time, your self-improvement time. What are you reading? What are you watching? What time of the day is it? Exercise and your business. You know, there's 168 hours in the week. And most of us don't realize, you know, you sleep 8 hours a day, you work 8 hours, that's only 16 hours. You still got all those other hours that you can use for exercise, health, growing your business, and probably still have a little bit left over if you get focused. And that's one of the things that visionary mindset people do. They can control their schedules. And then look, they could care less about people's feelings towards their own goals and visions. Watch this sentence closely. They run their own race. That doesn't mean they don't care about people. What that means is they run their own race. Once they've settled on that vision, that goal, that lifestyle, once they've settled on it, They're not going to come ask your opinion about whether it's okay if they go get this license and make a better person of themselves, or if they go out and start this business. It's not going to happen. They're not going to care about those opinions, let other people's opinions drag them down. Now, I do want to say something. Your spouse, your relationship with the person that you're going to be with the most in the world is the most important decision you'll ever make. If you haven't made that decision in your life yet, don't. Just wait. Get yourself together, okay? And listen to me. If you have a spouse, you make sure that whatever you tell them you're about to do, that you do it. Because if you want to ruin a relationship real fast, you go start a part-time business and tell them that you're going to hit XYZ and don't hit XYZ. And guess what? It's over. It may not be over for years, but it's going to be over. Trust me when I tell you something. Run that race, cross that vision line. And I'm not saying you don't care about people, but they run their own race. Okay. Now that's the mindsets. Now that's the mindset of a visionary thinker. You see this right here? As you're going along, it occurred to me, for most of us, this is a journey. This is a journey where we're going to be going and changing ourselves. And your change is the only constant in your lifestyle. If you're not changing, you're not getting better, you're not going through some pain. You see what Brad said? Growth is painful, change is painful, but there's nothing as painful as staying where you're not supposed to be. That's probably one of the most painful things that you could ever go through in your entire life. So get ready, because it's going to hurt. But sitting there stuck where you're at is a way worse thing. So look, I went over it's about 12 most important mindsets of a visionary. If you're wondering what book you can find it in, you can find it in mine as soon as it hits the line. Okay. So, I'll give you guys a discount. So we're going to transition now using that mindset and using what we learned about vision into a visionary statement. This is not my exact visionary statement, but take a screenshot, and I'll make sure everybody on this call gets these slides. Okay. I'll make sure you get the recording, but this is my visionary statement. Okay. I'm going to read it for you. And I've changed a few things in there because life has changed, but I live a life of wealth and health. And as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, remember my daughter's walking through the kitchen of my beach house down there in Florida. I'm driving the vehicle. I took it out of there because I wanted to make this blank enough that you can drop stuff in there. Okay. You can take this and change it. I'm driving this, 2025 Dodge Cummins Turbo Diesel Western Edition. And Debbie and I travel in the world as a motivational speaker running two businesses. I have this group, and then I have a financial services business. These are the passions of my life, helping people. And, honestly, what led me to doing this was I saw people out there kind of loose and couldn't get training, couldn't get anybody to give them a little guidance. And I'm like, well, we can do that. We can do a couple hours a week, couldn't we? And so I've already started, and I've started on the front end of my business just by giving it away. But, then you go on and say, running two businesses, a passion of my life next to my wife and my family and my God. I feel great because I've made my health mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually a priority by exercise, reading, proper associations, building my own integrity and character in all that I do. And you notice that all those 12 things I just said are incorporated in this sentence. I'm highly sought after to train and speak to all kinds of people around the entire world. This is the life I lead because I'm called to be more. I'm called to serve people. I'm called to better mankind and lead to a brighter future. This is, and it's changed some, but this is my visionary life statement, okay? This is where it begins with. So when I sit down and I think about where I want to go, I see us in that house. I've taken steps to get that house already. I don't want to abandon my northern outpost. So I position myself in my northern outpost so it's very affordable, so that when that right place comes up and it's on my right proper timeline, I can have both. One of the things I learned in that book, 177 Secrets of the World Class, is that wealthy people, world-class people, they don't ask either or, they ask, how can we do both? How can we have both? So I'm going to have my northern command and I'm going to have my southern command, okay? So, I think about my family running through that house. And my family was over here running around our house on Friday night for Christmas stuff. But I think about them coming down to fly. I think about the fact that I'm probably going to fly my family in. Like I that's something I visualize, that they didn't have to come to me and say, Dad, where am I going to get tickets to come down? You know, they didn't have to say, well, we'd love to come, Dad, but you can get that Christmas bonus this year. They don't have to do that because Dad's already got it covered. It's already planned for and accounted for. And I see that. I already see, giving away the vehicles as I get a new one. I see going out in that yard and having birthdays with grandkids and great grandkids. I see getting on a plane and traveling around the world. I see, going to base shops and places all around the country to speak to people and help people. This is all in my visionary statement. But with that visionary statement alone, it's not going to happen. So what do we do? And by the way, I hope you've taken a screenshot, because you're going to have homework to work on this for you. And yours may look similar. It may look totally different. I remember my dad. My dad's visionary statement was something along the lines of, I'm going to have 5 tractor trailers and, this, that, and the other. And he had those tractor trailers all around his game room. And one day he went from working for a company to going out and buying a silver tractor trailer like the one he had in his game room. There was a step in the right progression. He had it in front of him all the time. Okay. So, visionary statement. You remember what we talked about? Goals are the roadmap to get back to that visionary statement. Goals are the roadmap. They're the tools. So how do we set goals to get to where we go? You've probably all heard this, but you have to start with the end in mind. Okay. We got to start with the end in mind. Everything, unfortunately, in this world revolves around a dollar amount. It costs money to do life. It costs money to help people. It costs money to grow your business. It costs money for all those things. So you have to constantly make money. So, one of the first questions is how much does it take? I mean, my house is about 2.2 million without inflation by the time I get there. So there has to be a plan of mine. How is that going to be financed? And not just how is it going to be financed, what about taxes? What about, is it going to be in an estate? Is it going to be in a trust? There's all kinds of questions I have about that. Okay. And you don't have to start there. That's just me. Maybe because I'm in that business. How much, who do I have to become to earn that kind of money? So that was one of the best statements I ever heard. Jim Rohn said, he said, if you get $1 million, you better hurry up and become a millionaire. You see, because it's not just the money that makes you a millionaire, it's the who you are. And to be honest, there was times in I wasn't prepared for that, Chad. Well, are we ever born prepared for that? No, we're not. But, who do I have to become? What books do I have to read? What skills do I have to have? See the next one, or what skills do I got to pick up on the way? I'm not going to get to that next level as a business person with the same skills. Okay. How do I got to learn how to treat people? Do I got to treat people better? Have I made bad decisions about people? These are questions I'm asking myself as I'm beginning to back down. Would a guy living that lifestyle treat people the way that I treat people? Would he have these skill sets? What skill set would he have? Would he have the skills to run a business? Would he have the skills to sell? Would he have a product that multiplies his time and leverages his time and duplicates himself? We talked about that last week. You got to find ways to duplicate yourself in this world. Where do I acquire those skills? Do I need to change careers? Maybe being a mechanic ain't gonna cut it. Maybe nothing against being mechanics. Maybe being a mechanic cuts it and you have to own a shop, or a diesel shop, or a chain of diesel shops. That's the question. Then we have to continue backwards. All those things that person has that lives in that house on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Do I have those skills now? When will I begin to grow them? Is it something I can pick up right now? Maybe I can't learn enough about trusts and estates to satisfy what I need in 2 years, but what I can do is I can learn as I go, right? I can study. I can become a better person. So what do I need to do to grow those skills? What landmarks am I going to hit as I go? Okay, so maybe I'm going to go get a professional license and I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to build a team and I'm going to grow residual income. And I know it's going to take me a year to launch just before I really make any money. So I'm going to work at it for a year and I'm going to study and I'm going to grow. But in year 2, I'm going to make, X number of dollars. And it's going to grow into the next X number of dollars. And then in 10 years, when I'm 60 years old, my net worth is going to be $10 million or whatever, right? So, what landmarks will I hit? What do I need to improve mentally, spiritually, intellectually, or emotionally to grow into those skills? I talked a little bit about that already. Do you need more knowledge? Do you need better emotions? Maybe you are letting your highs get you too high and your lows get you too low. Maybe that's actually happening. Maybe you don't. Maybe you get to the edge and you blow it. I've been there. I self-sabotaged, and I had to go get help, and I had to listen to people that had been there and tell me, hey, you're self-sabotaging, Jeremy. I'm accountable to them, right? Maybe that's what I need. I need to grow emotionally so I'm not offended at people trying to lead me. Who do I have to be? Okay. I had to assess where I'm at today. This is just, complete honesty with yourself. Most of us spend a lot of time lying to ourselves. We think we're further along than we are, or we're better than where we think we are. And even worse, a lot of us don't think we're good enough, or we don't think we should start now. We think, well, okay, when I get a little better, I'll start. No. Most of you guys, I can tell you just by the fact that you're on this call tonight, are already light years ahead of where most people are. I remember when I first got in financial services, the guy that mentored me, I would be nervous about going out and presenting a budget or something to a family, or presenting a program. And I was like, I'm nervous as I'll get out. He's like, dude, if you just read the first page, you already know more than most people in financial, or most families know about money. And I had to learn to build some confidence and assess where I'm at. Well, wait a minute, because I had a lack of knowledge, and that gave me a lack of confidence. I had to learn more, right? I had to assess, where was I really at? I remember sitting down there one night, I was going to show somebody rule of 72. And in my previous trainings, that person did this part of the presentation, right? And so I did the first part of the presentation. I slid the notebook over to them, and they looked at me up from the table over their glasses and slid it back. And I slid it back to them, and they slid it back to me, and didn't look up from the table. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing this tonight. And you know what? I did okay. I was a little further along than I thought. So make sure you give yourself enough credit, but also don't overestimate. Be realistic with yourself. Can you expect growth where you're at right now? To my cats. How about that? That's a good one for the video clip, right? Sending my cat jumping in. So, can I expect growth where I'm at? What am I doing spiritually to improve? You don't have to be my religion, or have the relationship, I'd rather call it, to do this, but you do need to have some kind of expectancy of who you are as a person. How can you best grow? I'm glad to talk to you about this one off camera if you want, but you have to have an expectancy of that. You weren't just thrown here. You were created by someone for a divine purpose. And you need to move forward in that purpose. What are you doing spiritually? I saw someone last night that was talking about this, and morality and spiritual goals and all these things. And I'm like, there is no morality outside of God. Why would we do anything? We would just hurt each other. He's given us this plan and this goal to be able to go forward. He's put something different in our hearts. But what are we doing to improve spiritually? How much money do we have saved now? Maybe that's an indicator of how we're already doing. How is my relationship with my spouse? Do I need to change, improve? Am I in the right place? Is it too late to make decisions? Otherwise, what is the deal with where I'm at now? How do I improve? How am I better? And last and not least on this roadmap, you have to start now. What does your schedule look like? When we get ready to have accountability meetings, one of the first things I'm going to do is, while the music plays, I'm just going to put my calendar on the screen. And that way you guys can see, okay, so Mr. Know-It-All doesn't have anything booked for Thursday, and whoever's in my accountability group has permission to say that to me, because I want something booked for Thursday. I have a plan too. I'm just like you. The question is, what does your schedule look like? Did you schedule time for taking this plan, these slides, and go put your plan together? I know you can't put it together while we're talking, but did you make time for that? Have you made time to actually sit by yourself without any noise and a notebook and a pen and think about next year? Because if you haven't, you're not going to do very well. This is a guide that time with you and your pen and your notebook is how you put the plan together. What can you do right now today to improve your position? Maybe you've been offered something that you're saying no to. Maybe you haven't went and got that next license. Maybe you haven't made enough phone calls. Maybe you're not fully utilizing everything in front of you right now. Most people aren't. Who is it that you can call? What is it that you can do right now to improve your position? How can you better keep your promises to yourself? Do you have that accountability in your life? Are you thinking in ink? I already said that one. Is your plan written down with milestones, pictures, and visualization? I'm not going to read every one of them, but look, watch this. Here's how your plan starts with your schedule, what you can do today, how you can keep better accountability to yourself, and writing it down. Then you figure out, how much money do I have right now? Can I get growth where I'm at? What am I doing spiritually to improve? How much money do I have saved? Oh, yeah. Hey, look, do I have any of those skills I need, or when can I go get them? What landmarks am I going to hit as I grow them? What do I need to improve mentally, spiritually, what have you to go? And how much money is it going to take to the next? You see what I'm doing here? Do you see what I did right there? Okay. It starts now with the visionary statement. Okay. I told you that that visionary statement's been changed, but I have all my affirmations right here, right? I have mine written down. I'm not going to read them all to you, but look, just listen to some of these, okay? I've made my health mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually a priority by exercise, reading, proper associations, building my integrity and character. I tell myself that every day, and then I look at how do I act upon that. I have become a man that many great people want to associate with. Would it be nice to pick up the phone and actually have somebody call you for a change? Maybe there's something you're displaying that's causing people not to do that. Maybe that's something you need to work on. I have put myself in such a position that people hold on, wrong glasses on, counting on me and what expect many great deals from me, want to do business with me, and they want I won't be able to turn all the money away. Like I have more and more and more. There's the date I achieved multimillionaire status. There's where I was when I was 60 years old, written out in perfect plan. And then I know what I have to do tomorrow already today. I have 3 appointments tomorrow morning I must take. Okay. I have phone time tomorrow. I must call people. I have time set tomorrow. I must message people. All the while doing those little things right there, I'm working on the next financial license or the next, growth. How do I lead more people? How do I become a person that can lead more people? How do I get that practice? I have it all written right down here in my plan, guys. I read every day. I'm not promoting myself. I'm telling you every single day. And if you thought 2 pages, because I think you should be about 2 pages, your affirmations and your goals. Okay. But if it wasn't enough, this is for one of my businesses. This right here is the Ignite Delmarva playbook. That's my podcast. It encompasses my digital media. Okay. That's the playbook. I can open that up and say, where am I at? I have time in my schedule allotted to that, where I open that book up and I say, okay, here's what we're doing. That's a slow ride right there, but it's a little bit of time that's scheduled that if I, and you know what the worst part of it is? This book right here was 5 or 7 years in my head. 5 or 7 stinking years in my head. Why couldn't I didn't just got it out sooner? I mean, sure, we could look at it philosophically. Maybe God wasn't ready. Maybe I was ready. I don't know. But it could have at least went in the daggone book. So I was headed that direction. And it finally did. I finally got started. So you know what happened? I'm so much closer now. I'm going to be talking to a sponsor. I have guests lined up. I have all these things to the side. And that's only 1 day a week. But I'm finally doing something. I'm not saying this so that you say, praise you, Jeremy. I'm telling you, where's your playbook? Where's your plan? If we get together 7 days from now and I say, hey, where's your playbook? Did you think about what we talked about? Well, the thing I want to do kind of collides with the other thing. Okay, have you even scheduled an hour a week? You know, and telling myself a little bit again, I don't mind being raw with you. When I first went into financial services, I had more excuses than anybody. I promise you, I could out excuse you. Okay. And I'll remember my mentor sitting me down and saying, you cannot tell me that you don't have 10 hours a week. It was like in the old story of the prophet and God arguing back and forth over destroying a city. He said, well, if there's 100 people there, will you keep them safe? And then he was worried. He said, well, no, there's only 90 people there. And they finally got down to 10 people. And he said, if there's 10 people there, will you let everybody live? And they couldn't find 10 people. Well, guess what? That was me. I couldn't find 10 hours, and I probably had 100. So I'm sharing that with you to say, if that's you, don't let that hold you back anymore. I know you have an hour. I know you have 2 hours. I know you can make a plan. I know you can start with that vision. I know you can just let the first job be, grab your notebook and your pen and find 90 minutes and sit there quietly and start thinking about, what would you do if money wasn't an object? Where would you go? Who would you take with you? When would you go? And start to let it flow. Dream again. That's where the vision starts. Dream again. See, it doesn't matter if you're here and you're 60, 70. It doesn't matter if you're here and you're 20. You know, this world has a way of crushing people and taking their dreams. And what we have to learn to do is become resilient and get back up. And when we get back up, you can't let nobody hold you back. You have to hit the ground running, because time is not waiting on you. It's not waiting on you. If you could do it tonight, I'd say do it tonight. You might be tired. Maybe it's not the best time. Maybe it's Saturday morning. Maybe it's whatever your day off is. But you have to get in your head and start thinking about, where's my heart at? What do I want? And you got to get it out on paper. And it might sound stupid. I'm reading a book about presidential campaigns, and I read about Carter Kennedy last night. It was a presidential primary. And Carter, as you know, was a very weak president in our country. And he tried to make it better, but instead of taking the commanding lead that he wanted to and taking the bull by the horns, he just kept doing things. He stumbled over himself and made himself worse. He invited 150 people up to Camp David so they could all give him their opinion on how he was doing. And every one of them, including future President Bill Clinton, told him he sucked. So he was going to make a speech out of their advice, thinking that they're going to come along and say, well, Carter, you can. Every one of them literally said he sucked, is how bad it was. He turned that speech into interviews, and the interviews bombed. So Ted Kennedy decided he was going to attack him. Okay. And he ends up running. The long and short of it is Carter wins and he loses to Reagan. Okay. But the point of my story is that your campaign has to start now with you and your own Camp David, and not with 150 people, not with the former presidents in your life, but with you, your spouse, if you're married. And you've got to get going now. You've got to take control. You're running for election of your own future. Can you look ahead and say, that's somebody that I want to vote for? Can your 60-year-old or 70-year-old or 80-year-old self be proud of you? Can you be proud of who that person is? Well, let's move on. Listen, it's right there. If you don't sacrifice for what you want will be the sacrifice. I don't know how to put it in any more bolder terms, guys. And there's me. There's that church we founded. I look at that picture and I can't wait to speak again. There's my house I grew up in right there. You see that's got a castle roof right there? That was a widow's walk, and in the Civil War, the widows would walk waiting for their men to come home from the war. There's a graveyard on the other side of that little fence with graves from the 1600s. One day I'm going to restore that house. I mean, it moves me when I look at that house. That's where I grew up. That's where me and my sister, I raised my sister. That's where we grew up. You know, there's my girls. It's not a current picture, but there's my girls. That's us on a trip. That's what that picture represents. That day was so amazing. There's where we're going to go. And I know that if we don't make the sacrifice to put this plan and keep this plan in front of us and become a visionary speaker, we might have, pardon my language, we might have a half-assed good life. Why have that when you can truly have more, when you were designed to be more? The question is tonight, are you going to sacrifice the time to get started? Are you going to get going? Are you going to start now? Are you going to search your heart for what you really want? What's your gut say? Are you going to see this one here? Get your plan together and take massive action. Not a perfect plan, because it'll get better as you go. What you need is to go. You need a plan and some massive action. You'll crystallize that vision as you go once you get started. Be honest with yourself about the gap between you and your vision. I can't buy that Florida beach house right now, but I damn sure will be able to in 2 years. Commit to the work. Let's see it in your schedule. Identify your stumbling blocks. Face them head on. Face your challenges. We grow. This is a problem we have in our lives. We see the challenges and we don't stand up and stick our chest out to it. Well, I'm scared to become a better person. I'm scared to go and admit that I was wrong to that person. I have a person I have a relationship issue with, and we email back and forth. And I had to tell them, listen, you don't understand. We both changed. Life's changed. And I want to fix that so bad. And I stuck my chest up to that person. I just, oh my God, I don't want to do this. But I did. And I became better for it. More confidence. And people can see it. Closer now. That's my personal hashtag. I don't know if I've told you that story, but there's a stupid saying I made up one time. People were bugging me as we were going down the road. How long before we get to the restaurant? I got to pee, all that crap, right? And I said, look, we're closer now than we were when we were further away. And one day I was listening to Tony Robbins, and he said, you know what? He said, happiness and success comes from constant progress. People that are miserable are the ones not making progress. You have to get daily wins and progress. So now I ask myself every day, am I closer now than I was? Or did I take a step back, or am I stuck? Because it's your daily habits that can bring you closer to your dreams. Then your actions, your accountability. We talk massively about actions and accountability. We're going to start an accountability group. You're welcome to join it. Don't go it alone. Be prepared to be raw. Get in an accountability group. I got one starting in January. Give the accountability you receive, but don't be disingenuous. Okay? Make sure you're holding yourself accountable. Do it in kindness and encouragement. Share with those people around you for real the documentation where you're really at, because you won't get the real help you need if you're not honest. You can't pretend your way to success. And believe me, I tried. Okay. Get a relationship calculator. Who are you spending time around with? Are they adding to your life, or are they somebody you should be helping in another way? Allow people to speak hard truths to you guys. Check your bank account. All right. Let's wind up now. This is my personal cell phone number. This is my email. I want to help you guys so bad that I literally, there it is. Text me, call me. Okay. We don't need to live our lives for the critics. We need to live our lives for us. And by the way, I should have put a poll up, Cindy. Should I go back to the spike, or should I keep the long hair? I've been growing it for a while now. What can we do to help you get better? I'll make sure everybody gets this. I'll make sure that everybody, gets the recording, gets the slides. But what are you going to do with this now? No, I'm not Tony Robbins, but you ain't got Tony Robbins' phone number, do you? Right? But you got mine. Where can we go together? What's something that we, can I help you put your plan together? I do have a package for that. I'll put that up another time. It's really inexpensive.